Everyone, welcome to the new video. Here, this was the one of the interview I was attended when I was having around 2 years of experience into the DevOps, and this was the interview I have given to the Capgemini, and this was the questions which was asked in the first round of interview, and around 14 questions were asked. I will share complete questions also in the description. Kindly check it out. It might be helpful for you for your preparation and all. And first of all, we'll see the questions. After that, we'll discuss the kind of responses and some inputs and my experience as well. Okay. The first question was tell me about your current project and your daily activities. And then what is Jenkins? Explain the Jenkins master slave architecture. How do you set up CI/CD pipeline for your project? And how do you build your application? Where do you store your artifacts and dependencies within the Jenkins? How many database related scripts can you write in a shell script? If you need to save your SSH key credentials in Jenkins, how would you do that? And the ninth question was name some useful Jenkins plugins. How do you give instructions to an agent node within the Jenkins? And the next question was how can you run 400 Jenkins jobs concurrently out of 1000 jobs? What is Git Init and why do you use it? And what is the difference between git pull and git fetch? And the final question was what does git clone do? Okay, it is a kind of simple questions only. Okay, if you worked or if you have a experience, obviously you can able to answer. Okay, and based upon the role, I can say the questions complexity will be varying. Okay, and otherwise it will be mostly in the initial rounds it will be quite simpler questions. Okay, so moving to the I will share some responses also, how you can answer. Okay, you can consider these kind of responses also. And moving to the first question, tell me about your current project and your day-to-day activities. You can discuss about your current working project. Okay, or else you can say in my previous project I work like this, and in my current project I am working as a DevOps project. I'm working in a DevOps project where we need to automate the softwares and we need to deploy the workflow using the CI/CD automation mechanism. And my primary responsibilities include setting up and managing the pipelines with whatever the tools like Jenkins, GitLab, and GitHub Actions. And we need to write the automated scripts and we need to maintain. And also, I was actively involving in cloud infrastructure creation by using a Terraform, and also we need to maintain a security based practices need to be followed. And my daily activities involve monitoring building pipelines, troubleshooting deployment issues, and optimizing the infrastructure for scalability and collaboration with the development team and cross functional teams to improve the efficiency among ourselves. Okay, in this way you can answer. And the next question was a simple question like what is basically a Jenkins? Jenkins is one of the open source automation server basically, and that will helps to automate the software deployment process that includes building stage and testing stage, deployment stage, and it supports a wide range of plugins. Almost 1800 plus plugins are available, and that will make highly extensible and useful for implementing the CI/CD pipelines. And Jenkins allows the team to automate repetitive tasks, which is doing manual manual intervention is required, and that will enforces some faster and more reliable software delivery. And moving to the third question, it's a kind of architecture question, where asked to explain the master-slave architecture. Master-slave architecture within a Jenkins, it will helps to distribute workload efficiency. The master node is responsible for scheduling the jobs basically, and that will monitor the slave nodes and maintaining configurations, the slave nodes, like we can say agent nodes also. And basically that agent nodes will execute the build job which is assigned by the master. This architecture improves the performance and ensures the parallel execution for multiple jobs, and making the Jenkins scalable for enterprise use cases also. Okay, and the next question was how do you set up a CI/CD pipeline for your project? To set up a CI/CD pipeline within Jenkins, we need to follow these particular steps to set up a pipeline. Okay, first we need to integrate a version control system like Git or GitHub Actions, GitLab, wherever the Bitbucket. Okay, like wherever the source code is stored by the developer, and then we need to create a Jenkins pipeline by using a declarative or scripted syntax. Declarative, most of the cases declarative will be used, and scripted also will be used whenever there is a requirement. Okay, declarative, we can modify the script accordingly. Okay, we can declare. Okay, and we need to define the stages within the pipeline like git clone stage, after that build, sorry, and after that build, later test, and then deploy, like that. Okay, and we need to configure the build triggers, like how the pipeline build need to be triggered. Pipeline should be triggered with the help of poll SCM. We can build the trigger, and webhooks also we can use scheduled jobs also, and also policy cron syntax also will be used, cron job. Okay, we can say. And we need to store, after the build was happened, we need to store the artifacts in the repository like artifact manager, Nexus artifact manager, or if you are using AWS, we can store in S3 bucket securely. And we need to deploy into the staging or whatever the production environment we have. Okay, these are the steps that included to set up a pipeline within a Jenkins. Okay, and moving to the next question. How do you build your application? Basically, the build process depends upon the technology stack, like whatever the source code was. Let's say for Java projects, we can use Maven or Gradle as a build tool, and if it is some Node.js project, then Microsoft Node.js was the Microsoft MS Build. Okay, Microsoft Build was the tool for building purpose. Okay, based upon the technology stack, we can say. And we need to the typical process of building includes first of all, we need to fetch the source code from the source code repository like a GitHub, and then we need to compiling the code, and then we need to run the unit test case by using a builder tool itself. We can define the unit test cases, and we need to generate a artifacts like var or jar file, and in some cases binary files also. We need to store the artifacts in a repository. Okay, and especially for containerized applications, we can build Docker images, and then we can push them into a container registry like Docker Hub. And yeah, this is how the application build will be happened in a software development life cycle. And moving to the next question, where do you store your artifacts and dependencies within the Jenkins? Artifacts and dependencies are stored in a repository managers like JFrog Artifactory, Nexus Artifactory repository, and AWS S3 storage. These repositories basically help to manage the versions, and that will ensure a certain security and efficiency to some whenever retrieve action is required. Um, And moving to the next question, how many database related scripts do you write in PowerShell? How many database related scripts can you write in PowerShell? PowerShell can be used for to write various database related scripts that including connecting a databases. We can generate a database string also from the PowerShell, and then we can run the queries like delete, update, insert, select. Okay, and for connecting to the databases like SQL servers, MS SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL. For all this we can connect, and exporting and importing the data also can be done, and performing backups and restores can be done. Automating the database maintenance task will be done by using a PowerShell itself. Okay, and the next question was regarding SSH. One moment. Yeah. If you need to save your SSH credentials within the Jenkins, how would you do that? Basically, this SSH to store within the Jenkins very securely, we need to go to the Jenkins UI. There is a Jenkins manager within the Jenkins main page, and then we need to click on manage credentials, and there is a option to add a new credentials, and we need to select. In that, it will ask to select the credential type. Okay, in that we need to select SSH username and private key. There we need to enter a user like ID and username, and private key we need to paste it there, and then we can use the credentials ID in the Jenkins pipeline, then accessing remote servers. I mean, whenever you are accessing the remote servers. Okay, this is how I mean, this will ensures there is a secure authentication for Git repositories and SSH based deployments also. Okay, and not only this SSH, whatever the credentials you are storing, you need to go to the same path like manage credentials and add credentials. Okay, and manage Jenkins and manage credentials, and that will make sure it will store securely. Okay, and name some useful Jenkins plugins. Okay, as I said earlier, in Jenkins there are 1800 plus of plugins are there. Okay, so majorly in the day-to-day out there are I mean, I personally use multiple plugins like Git plugin, Pipeline plugin, Blue Ocean plugin, Kubernetes plugin, Artifactory plugin, SonarQube plugin, 45 OApps, and Snake, Trevi, AWS plugin, AWS CLI plugin, and yeah, there are multiple plugins, and each plugin have their respective purpose. Let's say SonarQube, It performs some code quality analysis. Artifactory plugin that will manage the artifact efficiency. Kubernetes plugin, it will help to deploy the workload within the Kubernetes clusters. And Git plugin, it will integrate the Jenkins with the Git repositories. Okay, there are different purposes for each and every plugin. Okay, and moving to the next question, it is 10th question. How do you give your instructions to an agent node within a Jenkins regarding the master slave architecture? Agent in the sense slave architecture. Okay, and basically giving a instructions to an agent that includes labels basically to instruct to an agent node. You can specify the pipeline script basically that involves a pipeline in the first line. Later the bracket starts like a flower bracket, and then we can assign normal. The flow will be, I will tell one by one, like a pipeline will be the first, later agent, after that stages, stage, step. In the step, script we need to be written. Okay, so here a pipeline we can write, and agent in general, based upon the use case, we will write any also, any in the sense whatever the agent is available, it will take. Okay, and if we set up a agent name, then whatever the agent name with a label, whatever we have specified in this bracket, then that will only useful uses, and that label, that means that slave, okay, will be used for this particular job running purpose. And in the stages, we are not going to specify anything. In the stage, we are specifying what is the build stage, like a clone stage, build test stage, whatever it is. Okay, and then steps, and then script. Okay, and yeah, this is the instructions how you need to pass to the Jenkins. And also there is the alternative for freestyle jobs. We can assign a specific label under restrict, where its a project can be run, and in this particular configurations only. Okay, so basically whenever you are choosing a freestyle job, you can restrict the where this project to be run, in which node basically. Okay, so with the same freestyle configurations. Okay, so that is also one of the that is above process was for earlier process was for scripted or declarative, and this process is for freestyle. Okay, I think you aware what is freestyle and what is scripted or pipeline based jobs. Okay, and moving to the next question, it's kind of a small scenario based question. How can you run a 400 Jenkins job concurrently out of 1000 Jenkins job? You have a 1000 Jenkins job, you need to run a 400 Jenkins jobs. Okay, in that case, what we need to do, how to achieve this? To run 400 jobs concurrently, we need to obviously follow some best practices that include we need to increase the number of executor slots within a Jenkins master and agent nodes as well. Obviously, whenever we increase a number of executor slots, that will make sure to slots are available and the jobs can be executed parallelly more. Okay, and there is a distribute workloads by adding more agent nodes. Whenever there is a more workloads, obviously we need to go with more executors also, basically worker nodes. Okay, so agent nodes. Okay, so that will helps to manage the workload. That means distribution of workload will be happened, and we can use a Kubernetes or a Docker swarm to scale the to scale this process dynamically. And we can also utilize a parallel execution within the pipeline to optimize the performance. That is also one of the best practice we can follow. Okay, and this is how we can make sure to achieve 400 jobs can be run concurrently out of 1000 jobs. Okay, and the next question was, one moment. Yeah, the next question was what is Git init and how does it use? Okay, I think we are almost heading towards the end of the session, and at the end, the interviewer asked about Git questions. Mostly, initially only they will ask. I think in this interview it was happened at the end. Basically, git init command initializes a new Git repository. Whenever you hit git init in your CMD or PowerShell, then in the root directory, wherever you are running that particular command, you can see there .git. One folder is created. Okay, basically it will initialize a Git repository in your local within that directory, and it will creates a .git folder that wherever, I mean, you can track the changes within that. And basically that .git flow folder enables a version controls for your project. Okay, let's say entire project actually. Okay, so entire folder we can say. Okay, and this is a first step when setting up a new repository. We need to start with the git init. Okay, and what is the difference between git pull and git fetch? There is a small difference between git pull and git fetch. Git fetch we can use when you want to review the changes before merging, and git pull, some automatic updates will be received with the help of git pull. Okay, so basically whenever you wanted to make a changes, git fetch, whenever you want to review the changes before merging that into like master branch or whatever the branch we have. Okay, so to just check the changes, you have to use a git merge. Okay, and git pull can be used when you want some automated update. Let's say your central code repository will be pulled into your local. Okay, and whatever the updates you are or else team are done in that git repository, that all updates will be get into your local also, right? So that is basically git pull and git fetch. And moving to the next question, what is git clone? Okay, and this is the last question. Git clone, it will basically creates a copy of a remote repository on your local machine. Okay, and like whenever you are doing for the first time, whenever you are bringing the git central repository from GitHub to the local repository, that means to the git for the first time, then you need to clone the repository. Okay, git pull won't work. After cloning, whenever you do git pull, then that will get the automated changes. First will be done git clone command only. Okay, then that will copy the entire remote repository to your local machine, and basically what it will happens was it will download the complete repository, that including all the branches and its history also, everything will be downloaded. Okay, and the command will be was git space clone space and URL like https github.com.examplereport.git. Okay, .git at the end is mandatory and important. Okay, and this is commonly used to start some working on the existing project from the remote source. Okay, so yeah, I think these are the questions which was asked. I think it was not that hard, and you are also obviously able to crack. Okay, I think you found some these questions some insightful out of this, and thank you so much for watching the video, and stay tuned for more videos.